Washington Gray's March, played by the Edison Military Band.
You know, when I first met this guy, it was back in one of the Ultimate Grapplers Challenge tournaments. And I remember listening to him. Just some of the stories he was telling and talking to us about his background in martial arts. And he was very articulate. And he was on point with everything he knew. And I remember I really started liking this guy, you know. And he's also a top competitor in the world of jiu-jitsu and MMA. And he's a very good street fighter. And he's very open-minded too. A practitioner of kung fu and different arts. And he mixes all this stuff up, you know, so that when he goes out to fight and compete, you know, he's just a much better fighter. So anyway, I'm going to let him come on the show and talk to you guys. And remember that you are listening to World Martial Arts Radio with me, Alex Collazo.
1999, I started wrestling in high school. I needed an extracurricular. I wasn't doing anything with myself, and I figured getting into wrestling would be an ideal thing. Teach me some practical self-defense skills at the same time, like get a nice sport in there as well. And so I took up wrestling and really enjoyed it. But I can't say I was good at it, you know? Yeah. It's one of the things where the intensity of the sport was just overwhelming to me at the time. I'd never done anything like it before. And then for me, it was just like, man, I'm just getting run over every day. I've lost like pretty much every match. So they ended up winning 3 of them over the course of 3 years ago. So I win like a match a season. I did 3 seasons, with them on JV and varsity. And it was an enjoyable experience, though, and it really taught me how to take my lumps on the mat, you know what I mean? Which I would say is the top skill for any jiu-jitsu competitor or any competitor in any martial art.
You know, you also had some stories to tell about your experiences in the street, and in you know, when you go out, you get a lot of street fights, huh?
I do nowadays. It's actually pretty interesting. So, back when I first started martial arts, I was into the underground fighting scene. We called it the Gangsta back in the day, and I got myself into a nice little incident there with the Kung Fu master. It's very rare that you run into anyone that's practicing martial arts in a street confrontation. And what was interesting about this guy was that he was actually pretty good. He didn't last long in the fight. He was attacking the girl, and so I approached him not from the front, but from off side at an angle with a flying kick of all things. The flying kicks, those don't work on the street. Like, you know, you see him in the movies, and it seems like a good idea. Actually, I don't know why I thought that was a good idea. But down I go, and of course I hit the deck, got up.
Oh, man.
Mounted, ground and pound, pretty much your standard jiu-jitsu stuff. And it was effective, and, you know, ever since then I've been doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu pretty steadily because I found it was just a very effective way to fight. Even though the guy had more training, I was able to take the guy to the ground and really put a whooping on him. That was my experience fighting in the streets against other martial arts. Now, nowadays, I do it professionally as a bouncer. From time to time, I have to look at it there. And, like, it's a different feel between dueling someone on the street and being involved in a more chaotic street situation. You know, when there's hundreds of people, if not thousands of people running around, everyone's yelling, lights everywhere. It's a much different situation than being like one-on-one, even if it is in a parking lot. And so I would say one of the things I've learned over the years is there's 2 different sides, you know, to the street. Everything's okay, street versus sport. You know, what's the comparison there? But really, it's like you have different street situations that present themselves.
Mm-hmm. What are the? I know you competed in Naga, right?
Yes.
And how was that? How did it go for you?
So Naga, I've had a very interesting experience with. In other words, I've seen pretty much all sides of Naga. I still continue to see all sides of Naga in terms of when I started, I was definitely not winning anything, and barely winning a match or two. The point where now I'll come and win like 3, 4, 5 matches in a row. It won't be that big of a deal. And so it's been a experience as I've traveled from the bottom of the tournament, white belt, and I was barely even placing those, let alone winning them. And then like to black belt as our regional champion. It took me a good 10 years. A lot of people, they get this impression that, Naga has got this reputation as like the skill level isn't that high. But honestly, when I came through there, I was able to stay occupied for a good decade on that circuit. And that's one of my most favorite circuits to compete at. They pretty much allow you to do all sorts of grappling. Me, I like to play heel hook. And so Naga lets you go with that at pretty much all levels, like in the no-gi divisions, even though their gi rules are pretty much standard. But the no-gi really lets you play with the different attacks. So I like hanging out there. It's a great experience there.
When I spoke to you, I loved how when we were talking, you said that you practice different martial arts to complement your wrestling. Like you gave me a little demonstration of your kung fu, and you're very open-minded. And how do you feel about that? Do you think like in the near future we can see things like Chinese kung fu, being used in the UFC and in different competitions?
So I think that the open-mindedness to me, it's all about taking like the information that you're presented with, that you're given. There's no reason why you just would sit there and just shut your mind to all of this great material that are out there. And so I think that as people start to take a look at these arts and take a look at what the arts have to offer, that they're going to pick them up and start using them. Because I think now that you see a buy-in in the community for certain arts, and I think that that's unnecessary. I think that a grip in China is the same as a grip in Brazil or a grip in Japan or a grip anywhere else in the world. It's a matter of how you're using it. It's a matter of, what's your leverage looking like. And the idea that only certain countries came up with effective methods of grabbing people, it doesn't make any sense to me, And so I think that absolutely as more people start to understand that, and as more people start to look at ways to step out of the line, basically. They want to step out of the common material that they're seeing. As people start to do these things, you're going to see the rise of all sorts of arts. Look at how we had made in karate. You got someone absolutely come through use kung fu. Most likely you'll see Shaolin China due to its usefulness in grappling situation. I'm telling you, we're going to see it soon.
Wow. Hey, tell me that story about your guys versus the Marines or the Navy.
Oh, Harvard versus Navy. So that was back when I was teaching at Harvard, and that was a fun event. So it was set up so that was I would be coaching the team, and we would have our matches. Our guys matched up against their guys, and their team was actually the more serious of the two guys. They were the two teams, they were very well organized. They had the situation under control. They had uniforms. They had a clear plan. And they were actually pretty good with the jiu-jitsu. They were having some sort of issue finding a coach, but all in all, they made a nice presentation, but I saw a team out. And I ended up getting stuck in traffic out in Jersey somewhere. Ended up going to the wrong city. Had to re-navigate. Was that Jersey or was that Maryland? Somewhere we got lost in traffic. And so we show up, and at this point, our guys are down. And so it was me and one of the guys from the Harvard Extension School that I brought along with me. And so we head on in. We change, get into uniform. And my guy goes out there, and I was sort of embarrassed because, who wants to be late to an event that they're supposed to be coaching? And so you better have something good to show for it. So my guy comes out there, gets the guy in a very nice triangle. I was kind of worried because he hadn't practiced in a while. But his martial arts was there. It was there for when we needed it. It was on point. Submitted the guy. I went out there, submitted a couple guys. And they were very strong, very athletic. most definitely. But I used my leg locks. I would say just weren't prepared for at the time. So then after that, I taught them the leg lock seminar. I would say ate up. They had a great time. And then we went and had some, I believe it was barbecue and cigars. And so that's how that went.
Do you prefer?
It was a brilliant time.
Do you prefer? Do you prefer stand up over grappling, or grappling over stand up?
It really depends on the context. As a sport, I like submission grappling and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. But when I'm out there, like I'm a bouncer downtown, when I'm out there bouncing, then I want to stay on my feet. I try not to take it to the ground and the ground fight too much. I had a scenario where I did do that, and I found myself quickly surrounded. I found myself getting kicked and punched from all sides. I also found myself unarmed, which was fortunate. Like, the jiu-jitsu was helpful in that regard. But I would have preferred to take the guy down and keep my standing, or perhaps not even take him down, lock him up, and walk him out the door that way. Ended up on the ground with the guy. It turned out to be a very bad mistake. So I'm more inclined to keep it on the ground for a sport match, but on the streets, I'd like to keep it on the feet.
Wow. Do you train a lot every day, even though you're teaching now, or?
Yeah, I like to try and get in like at least an hour a day, you know what I mean? I don't do the big marathon training sessions anymore. That's not what's that for me. I'm more concerned with like the practicalities of running a school nowadays. But at least an hour a day, you know what I mean, just to maintain the shape, maintain the fitness. I'm still taking matches, so it's important that, I'm ready for a match at any time as well.
Wow. That's great, my man. Well, it was great talking to you. Do you want to do any shout outs or anything like that? Anybody? For when they hear this?
Just, what's it called? To all my students, how's it going? Keep it training, keep it on the mats. I'll see you on the dojo. Take care.
All right, my man. Well, thanks for the interview. It was nice hearing from you.
Yep.
Jordan Tabor, everybody. All right, my friend.